Welcome to Dear Business Coach, the podcast. My name's Elizabeth. Find one thing to move your business forward today with conversations, spotlights, interviews, articles, and free resources. Listen and follow and subscribe on social media. Dear Business Coach pages and groups. Dear Business Coach podcast, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and don't forget Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, anywhere you listen to podcasts. All it takes sometimes is one little thing to move your business forward today. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Yes, wonderful. Welcome to the Dear Business Coach podcast. Erin Newman, how are you today?
I'm awesome, Elizabeth, and I'm really excited to be here with you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so honored. I have a couple of sentences here of a profile introduction I'd like to read, and then we'll get right to it. But I'm reading this from your profile on LinkedIn, and that's Erin is Erin, Newman, Newman. And Erin is a speaker, writer, and mindset coach. She helps leaders and business owners to overcome burnout and mindset blocks so that they can follow their dreams and create a life, career, and/or business that lights them up again. She's offered powerful keynotes and workshops on topics of imposter syndrome, subconscious mindset blocks, and nervous system regulation. And these two companies, organizations like Mercedes-Benz, NCR, Pond Engineering, and others. Her dynamic and experiential talks and workshops are fan favorites and offer employees and management valuable tools for success mindset. ErinNewman.com. Erin, tell me a little bit about yourself. How would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, it's so funny as you were reading that, I was like, yeah, that's really LinkedIn-y, isn't it? This is very corporate focused. Yeah, I work mostly with service-based entrepreneurs. That's my sort of bread and butter clients that I just love to work with. And occasionally corporate people who have a bigger message. They want to start doing more speaking engagements, something like that, usually if they're coming from corporate. But for my service-based entrepreneurs, we are really focused on creating that deeper conviction for themselves that they get amazing results for their clients so that they can go out, really do what they love and make amazing money at it. So oftentimes we are raising their prices and getting them really secure in that pricing. But again, it's really about them having that deeper conviction of who they are in the world, and that is what creates the results for themselves and for their clients.
Okay, so now do you find folks that are gravitate towards you are looking for something, have something inherent where they have that nature about them? You're using the word conviction. And so it feels like you might be somebody I would come to if I have a feeling that, yeah, I really deeply want to produce that outcome for somebody. So it sounds like a personal journey.
Absolutely.
Are you a LinkedIn user? If you are, you can join me for LinkedIn Live Audio with Elizabeth every week, usually on Mondays at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. I will have a LinkedIn Live Audio where we talk about podcasting for executives who speak and podcasting for team leaders who speak. These are the themes that are currently running. If that sounds like something you're interested, visit me, Elizabeth Walker at Work, on my LinkedIn profile.
Absolutely. I mean, because you're in this world too, but business is such a personal journey, and so part of that is really knowing you can get a result for somebody, right? And I think when we start kind of pivoting or changing our direction, we'll start questioning that again. We'll be like, okay, but can I really do this? Can I really offer this? Can I really share this deeper work with people and still make money at it? So it's looking at those really old programs, especially for women, that tell you you can't really do what you love and make great money at it, and this is really old programming, right? Like if you think about our ancestors and um, yeah, our grandmothers, right? They didn't get to go out and just do what they love and create a business from it. That wasn't usually something we got to do back in the day. So in this world that we live in now, yes, we have that opportunity, but we still carry all those beliefs with us. We still carry all that programming with us. We still carry programming from our mother's generations that was still in the like, hey, stay in the kitchen kind of, and there's people right now who want to bring that back. But we have to unravel and deprogram all those messages we've been told so that we get to stand up as women and say, yeah, this is the work that I do, and I get to be paid really well for it.
Yeah, that does sound like we're trying like you're trying to fit a square into a circle hole or something. All right. I was thinking about this a few minutes ago. I was actually driving before our meeting, and driving sometimes does things to the mind where you
Yeah.
start thinking. And I was thinking about my grandmother, and she was
Mm,
a really supportive person. She was lucky enough to have her own finances. That wasn't, I think, probably common for her generation, but I still remember this feeling of when expressing to her aspirations that were career like. um Her response would be, again, supportive, but the perspective is, oh boy, you that is just amazing and you're capable and that's wonderful, but I just I'm not sure how you would even do that. How do you even do that? Where, what is the map for that? And
right.
so that's what I think of when I hear you say that, is it the just have a vision and put that together with the idea that it's possible. So
Yeah,
you say that mindset is important, and I heard you say that people coming from corporate, that is a mindset in and of itself. So
for sure.
yeah, so for your clients and people that you want to talk to today or now and generally, um, where do you see us starting? What is this framework that we are in as a starting point, maybe?
Yeah, so they're usually already established entrepreneurs. They've had clients, they um, have their website set up. They've, you know, $80,000 a year is usually probably a really good starting point, because then you're in that space of, okay, well, what's next? Right? Like, what am I moving into now? And can I really do that? I think for me, the central question, and I'm so glad that you had a grandmother that even saw the possibility, because a lot of us didn't even have that, right? And again, that belief system will come up when we start to pivot, when we start to explore different ways of being in our business, when we start to explore different ways of getting leads, different ways of getting traffic, different ways of, yeah, running a scalable business, right? And for women, again, especially women, and then if you're a person of color, that's even, double the amount of conditioning. We're told, stay small, be a good girl, stay quiet, right? One of the messages I talk about a lot is how when I was going, 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever, my dad started to say to me, well, Erin, you run like a girl now. You used to run really fast, but now you run like a girl. And like, what does that message do to us, right? Like, and he didn't mean any harm by it. That's the thing I think that's really important to talk about with when we're talking about unraveling messages. Like your grandmother, right? She wanted to protect you. She wanted to keep you safe. She was saying to you, well, how are you going to do this? Because I'm scared for you.
Hmm.
And my dad, in his way, was doing the same thing. Like, I want to protect you. I want to keep you safe, right? This is what we do for our kids and our grandkids. But yet, we as business owners have to recognize that those messages keep us small. When he said to me, you run like a girl, he meant there's something wrong with that, right? There's something wrong with the way that you run now. There's something wrong with the way that you as a girl show up. There's something wrong with you as a woman showing up in the ways that you want to show up in your business, right? You can't be too loud. You can't be too much, right? We were just talking about that. Like you
Yeah.
can't we all do this. We all shut ourselves down in certain ways in our businesses, all of us, right? Like I was having a conversation with a client yesterday about how she wants to do this podcast, but she has 3 teenage boys and she knows their friends Google her, and it's like, and I have that same concern, right? Like I have 2 teenage boys. Like I don't want you guys on my YouTube live, I don't want you following me on Instagram. Like, and yet we as women have to stand up and say, like, okay, but this is who I am, and this is what my business is about, and this is what I stand for, and this is what my conviction is. And the more we can unravel those old messages, the old programming, the patriarchy, the things that hold us back, the more we get to say, you get to have whatever reaction you want, you person on the outside, you, my teenage son, right? Like you get to have whatever reaction you want. And that's okay. I'm here for it, but I'm still going to stand for what I stand for. I'm going to stand for conviction in the things that I'm saying and the things that I'm putting out there. And that to me is the work of a lifetime, right? Like the unraveling of what other people have told us and what other people have tried to fit us into. And it doesn't have to be true anymore, right? We get to let that go. And so that's the real work. And I think that's what, regardless of what we call it, whether you're a health coach or a business coach or a fitness coach or whatever, we're always doing that with people, right? We're bringing them back to who they authentically are. Like who are you in this? Again, whatever doorway they come in through, that's the work we're doing with people, because yeah, that's who we are as helpers, as healers, is bringing people back to themselves. So
Hey, listeners, don't forget to subscribe to email if you haven't already. Do this at dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. And if you are a new subscriber, look for the magazine coming up. You can get a free download as a new subscriber. That's dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Thanks so much, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Remember, you are a superstar. Yeah, I mean, you actually, you're talking about people, women who are creating their own vision. And so I listened to of course, a podcast. Somebody said that she has an analogy that she came up with as self-esteem is like for some people can be like something that you pack in a suitcase, you bring it with you, or a briefcase. That might be better for this conversation, right? A briefcase, and you bring it with you to the conversation or the meeting. And if that person rejects you or isn't interested or something, then maybe, if you don't have your own solid ground, you might pack your self-esteem up in that briefcase and go somewhere else. And then it just depends on, what somebody else, if somebody else likes the wares in your traveling salesman suitcase that day. And it really, I laughed at her analogy, and then it stuck with me. And I wanted to ask you, as you're talking, I'm thinking this feeling of self-esteem versus conviction, and as a person who might feel um like you have to be louder in the room to get any attention at all, especially if we're talking about women in business. I feel like I might be often getting confused what my self-esteem is versus the conviction that I have for something.
sure.
Do
Yeah.
you can I ask you that question?
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually really funny that you asked about this, because I just did a Facebook Live in my group a couple of days ago about this. So they are very related, but they are not the same in my mind, because um I have seen 7-figure, 8-figure entrepreneurs who have, from their own words, right? Not my words, from their own words, have low self esteem. So, like, overall, have low self esteem. Again, these are their words, not mine. Though I think you can sometimes diagnose that too. But they have absolute conviction in their work or in their widget or in their thing that they're putting into the world. And that conviction around the thing, again, whatever it is, their modality, their practice, their whatever, people are attracted to that conviction. So, and I'm thinking also of like practitioners I've hired or healers I've hired or people I've hired to do work, maybe they aren't the most self-confident person I've ever met, right? Maybe they're not like the like, ah, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Maybe they're not Tony Robbins when they walk into the room, but they have absolute conviction in their work, right? Like they know when I get you on that massage table, I'm going to do amazing work, or let's think of like a foot massage person or something, right? Like I know my stuff. I know you're going to walk out of here feeling better, right? Like I 100% have that conviction, and that conviction gets conveyed to us, right? So you can have really low self-esteem, but high conviction in your work, and that conviction is still going to translate to people. And vice versa, right? Like you can have overall high self-esteem, but not a lot of conviction in the work that you do. Maybe yet, maybe you haven't done it enough, or maybe you're going in a new direction, or yeah, I think that those are probably the top reasons. But like they're very related, and I think it's probably easier to make the leap from I have high self-esteem and I'm going to create conviction in this work that I do versus the other way around. Um, but they're not entirely, in my mind, the same thing. Like you could have one or the other, hopefully both, right? Like that's hopefully what we're doing, is creating that sense of confidence in yourself, because when you really know, like, I'm unstoppable, then it really doesn't matter what you're offering to the world. Like you can figure out the marketing, you can figure out the tech, you can figure out the back end pieces, the systems, the support, all those things, when like, yeah, I've got this, I'm going to figure it out, I'm the kind of person that figures this thing out. So yeah,
Mhm.
hopefully we're building all of that at the same time. And I think business is such a great place to get that knowledge of yourself.
Yeah, this is interesting to kind of work out on paper, right? This is helpful, really helpful. And I think another muddy area, gray area to that, I'm actually what you just said really, really outlines it really well, is conviction, right? You can, if you have some self-esteem or something in that nature, you can say, well, will be able to test my product over and over again. I can, and build that. On the other hand, maybe circling back to what you were saying earlier about women seeing the possibility of career, and right, being a woman and whatever woman means, right? That's a whole conversation. But being able to, sorry, I know I sound confusing right now.
Oh, you're not.
um
I'm following you.
so if you feel that, but if you also maybe you have the nature that you are a person who is good at your job, you have that conviction about your work ethic, your product, your practice. But I can't take that conviction from work and make myself a good woman. Is like the other, that's kind of the way where my brain says, well, why couldn't you do it the other way around, right? If you feel like you are a person who is um vital, right? You have education, you have ideas, you have the drive. I can take that into the workplace and make something out of a career from ground up. and so why couldn't I do that the other way around? If I find myself in a career path and I find that conviction and I have that drive and I've carved out an identity and a path for myself that is work related, but feel like there's this other piece of me that's neglected, or this other part that doesn't show to society or something, right? So I feel like I can do work but not be a valuable mother or wife or whatever it is that thing is. That what is it, that thing that makes people run like girls? That is just not enough or something. All of these little things that seem to be and or not both. You can figure it out in one piece and not the other. I think that's logically, I know that's ridiculous, and yet physically that seems like the demand.
That feels true. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's because, again, of those belief systems, right? Like, what were we told is required to be a good mom? What were we told is required to be a good wife? What were we told is required to be a woman in the world? And when we start letting go of those beliefs, other people's beliefs about what is required, what is expected of us, then it gets
Mm.
much easier to see our pathway through that. Like, how do I want to show up as a wife? How do I want to show up as a mom? And it's probably going to look really different. And and looking at the beliefs about what's required for you to show up at a corporate job every day too, because society has told us this is what it looks like. You need to kill it all the time. You need to work 60 hours a week. You need to be, on your phone checking email all the time. And even when I was in corporate, I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, I was the client manager, all
Mm-hmm.
the other client managers and this is back when we had they called Blackberries.
Hmm. I had one for a little while.
Yeah, I had my Blackberry and my regular phone, and everyone else would like still check their phone at night. And I'm like,
Mm,
I have a little one at home. I'm not doing that. And so I told the service desk, I was like, if you guys need me, call me. Don't email me.
mm.
I'm not checking my email at 7 o'clock at night. And I set that expectation within the team, like, I'm not going to be available like that. I'm not taking that time away. You guys don't pay me to take time away from my family, right? And so it's really about us letting go of what they say is required in all of those spaces, right? Like, what's required to be a good mom is not ferrying them around to a million activities. It's being present with them. It's being loving with our kids. That's what they're going to remember. That's what they're going to respond to versus all the things the outside world has told us. Like, oh, you need to put them in playgroups and you need to, right? Like, all the things you need to make sure they eat broccoli every day. Like, maybe those things are true. I don't know what's true for somebody else, but
Mhm.
probably not, right? Like, probably those are outside messages that are filtering in. And so, to me, everything comes back to belief systems. Like, what belief systems do you want to buy into? What do you want to choose for yourself versus, again, what have you been told all your life? Can you look beneath that and see if there's there's a deeper message for you in terms of how you want to be in the world?
Yeah, again, breaking it down on paper is helpful. I'm using the word paper like an analogy. As
Yeah.
I listen to things, I also see them on paper sometimes. So
Mhm.
what you just said was really interesting. I know we have just like 2 minutes left, and I'm going to
It's
remember
okay.
to say erinnewman.com. But your example there, or your specific personal story about telling your service desk to not send you an email, to call you, at first I would think, well, now hold on, you're still saying to somebody I'm available. However, from personal experience, I'm thinking through that conversation, those through that little tiny thing that you just said to your service desk. Don't email me, call me. And number one, you set a boundary. Now, that something's interesting about that. If you've ever been in a situation where somebody wants to get in touch with you and create urgency to get your attention because it's a problem for that person potentially, you might give somebody the leeway to say, oh, yeah, sure, whatever. You could just email me. I'm available. That person might email you 15 times tonight because, oh, I'll just send Erin an email. Oh, well, maybe she's checking her email. I'll just send Erin an email. If you tell somebody, no, I'm not checking my email. If you really need to reach me, though, you can call. That one little rule might signal to somebody, oh, I have to pick up the phone to call Erin. It better be a problem. Is
I,
that what you
I
did?
only got 2 phone calls. Yeah. And I would see my boss, right, who actually was a woman with kids at home. I would see my boss answering emails in the middle of the night, and I was like, no, no, this is not it. And I mean, and that was many things, but that was part of kind of what led me to leaving corporate. Somebody used this, oh, I'm going to get it wrong, but somebody used this phrase the other day that was like, I am completely unemployable. And I was like, yes, that is me. Because once you left, once you, to me, broken out of the matrix and seen what entrepreneur life is like, it's kind of like, I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to like the sort of fake urgency around that corporate creates, right? Like the corporate world creates, and our whole culture too, not just corporate, but it creates that fake urgency of like microphone, be on all the time and um answer everything right away. Like, what is that? Like, that's not how we're meant to live. That's not how we, if you think about the cycles of the seasons and the cycles of the planets and the cycles of our bodies, like we're not meant to live like that. Like that's crazy. So
No. Yeah, it does create a false sense of productivity too. You're not really actually um, humanly able to properly solve problems. For example, the other night decided, I've been behind. I'm going to send this one last email before I go to bed. And lo and behold, the next morning I had to do an extra 30 minutes of work because I sent this person the wrong file and just,
right.
and then I got reprimanded by my partner. He said, see, that's why you said you don't do things when you're tired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I want to say, yeah, erinnewman.com is the link that I have. And um I'm pulling your information from your LinkedIn profile, which I have, but the URL is where I can see free abundance meditation freebies. There's a place for me to put in my name and email. I see tabs for speaking, for authors, and books. So what can I point to here for you today? Where would you like people to see you and get in touch with you?
sure. Yeah. So, like Elizabeth said, there is a free abundance of meditation hypnosis available on my website that's really awesome if you're looking to expand in terms of money and finances. And then I also have a book that is just out called Mind Body Bank, and it is a somatic approach to releasing money blocks. And it's only $7. So that's on my website too. Yeah, under books, it's on my website. But you can grab that too. And um, yeah, I really would look forward to connecting with you guys. Feel free to shoot me a note. I'm on all the socials as Erin Newman. So yeah, find me wherever you are. And yeah, I hope we stay in connection.
Well, I'd like to ask you to come back at some point too, because I know
Sure.
we've kind of touched the tip of the iceberg, and um, maybe something, what can I do today as far as you've heard me say a little bit about the thoughts that I have? Maybe there's something I can do today that would help my mindset.
Yeah, so this is probably going to be something you're not expecting, but the
Okay.
research is really showing lately the best thing we can do for our mental health is dancing. Like,
Okay.
yeah, really just putting on music you love and dancing around by yourself. I mean, do it with others. Do others with others is even better if you can find a group. But it doesn't have to be choreographed or anything. Just dancing, getting into your body, because I mean, again, not to say this so many times, but as women, we've been given so many messages about our bodies being wrong, about our bodies being too fat or too thin or too whatever, too old, everything, all those messages. And so when we can really drop into our bodies and into that innate wisdom, we really get a sense of, yeah, who we are, and that it's okay and that it's safe to be us. And that creates so many different things in your world, but especially as business owners, you start to see, like, it's safe to do it my way. It's okay to do it the way I want to do it versus somebody else.
Whoa, mic drop right there. It's okay to That's huge. That's huge. Well, Erin, I've kept you a couple minutes
No,
past time.
no
Well,
worries.
thank you so much. And so I've entered my name and email to get the abundance meditation information. And so I thank you so much for being here today and giving us your
Yeah.
gifts and pointing us to your book and your website. So look out for this episode and your magazine article. And thank you. I just said thank you 3 times.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is awesome. And I'm excited to be here.
Erin Newman. All right. Talk to you again next time.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. That's okay. I can edit. Cancel and stop.